And hey there, hi there, ho there, and a gracious good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast here on the YouTube channel and also with an hour's worth of UofL excitement in women's sports. The joint excitement as we try to bring it to you each week. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. Pull up a chair, spend the next hour with us as we talk about some of the things that have been going on in the sports world concerning UofL and the ACC, I think today. Primarily women's sports, but it's kind of a broad-based shoot anymore. Three of us with you today as Jeff and Jared join me. Paulie here for our discussion and delving dialogue.
Nice alliteration.
Thank you, sir. Since Case is out studying on a PE exam here, trying to figure out a way to beat Jared or Jeff in the quiz that we have each week, we're going to let Jared do our lack of scheduling and Twitter information. Sir, step up to the mic.
There's not much going on with the scheduling world. You can still see a little bit more of women's soccer going on. Outside of that, with college sports, it looks like scheduling is going to get delayed even further or become non-existent. We'll just have to wait and see with that. Moving on to Twitter, though, Paulie tweets out as Cardinal Couple. He's usually pretty active out there. You'll never know what you'll get from him. Jeff tweets from a couple different places now. You haven't seen much from his Card Couple Radio, but he'll get some UofL news out there sometimes, especially with volleyball. He'll tweet a lot more as Jeff McAdams, just his personal Twitter. Case, who was unable to join us today, got tired of losing on the quiz, so he tweets out.
Shout him out, man. Call him out.
Stab in the back in the first 5 minutes. Wow.
So hopefully he'll be ready to go next time we have a quiz when he's back. But he does tweet out as best case scenario. That is BST, no E in the word best. He hadn't been too active on Twitter lately, but he'll get some stuff out there every once in a while. And then myself as the Mr. Anderson Jared. Anything from banking to what's going on in the world and trying to get more photos out there published. I've been a little bad with that lately, but I'm trying to work on getting caught up there. Just not much going on to tweet about, though. But that is what we have going on for scheduling and Twitter right now.
And there it is, rummed up. I would say that you are probably a little more active than I am, though, on Twitter, Jared, because you're just doing something just about every day on there. And you never can tell what's going to come out of your fingers, that's for sure, buddy.
Yeah, I try and get out there at least once a day, catch up on what's going on, see what people are doing. I've had a couple different UofL fans reach out to me about, hey, you want some family pictures done? Because we've got all this extra time right now. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm happy to work with you.
Let's just go ahead and take a minute then and do a shameless plug for your sideline business there. Go ahead. Tell us all about it, bud.
Not much going on right now. Obviously, no sports, which is kind of what I enjoy most with photography. But I'll do other photography. I picked up a little bit of couples and family stuff lately outside of just my usual individual shoots. So trying to broaden my range, test the waters a little bit there.
So that was a prompt for you to share a URL for them to go to see examples, Jared. You're not a very good entrepreneur here.
If people were possibly interested in even discussing such a remote thing with you, Jared, how would they get in touch with you? Where would they go? How do they do it?
You can always reach out on Twitter, JDA Photography on Instagram. It's a good way to do it. My Facebook page, I try and leave that public so anybody can see. I'm a little behind trying to get some stuff cleaned up on the jdaphotos.com website, but you can see mostly sports photos out there right now. Those are usually the best ways to reach me.
So if the average common man were to type in JDA photography in his browser of his choice, they would be able to find some information upon you, I would suppose?
Only on Facebook and Instagram. I just still go by the Mr. Anderson Jared on Twitter.
Okay, there you have it. A broad roadmap for you to get to where you need to be. If you need photos taken, we can certainly recommend Jared to do that. Shock of $25, Jared, payable at the first of the month for that. But yeah, moving on into the meat and bones, the main segment of the show. A lot of things to discuss, as we said earlier today. I think we might as well start it out in the realm of the conference that the University of Louisville participates in, that being the ACC, and the fall out of conference schedule question. We've seen several leagues already decide that they're not going to do it, namely the Big Ten and the Pac-12. The ACC looks like it could be on the premise of such. What do you guys think about this? Are they going to follow suit here? Jeff?
Yep.
Well, there's also the question that, the sports aren't going to start until September 1, which is impacting a couple of the fall sports a little bit. I think it takes out one weekend of volleyball, takes out several women's soccer games, probably men's soccer as well. So that's also something to consider here. Looking at the women's soccer schedule, they have 3 games posted in late August, plus an exhibition. I think that one was already called off, though. So those will go away. So we're already seeing definite impacts on it. And then there's the speculation of eliminating non-conference stuff, particularly in football, but maybe across some other sports as well, which would change things. It's an interesting move. I think I saw some commentary online saying this was a way to buy time to hope that things that get better, but there's no real plan for it. Like, there's no real plan to actually improve things to where sports could be held safely. So I think a lot of people are maybe taking a cynical viewpoint of, they're saying non-conference is being eliminated for now to eliminate a lot of those early season matchups to kind of buy some time. But I think a lot of people are kind of expecting the boom to fall on just the total season. Obviously we're hopeful it doesn't happen that way, but the realistic and viewpoint of it is that there's a good chance of it.
And the main economic engine here, the sport that everybody's having the most discussion about this toward, is of course obviously football. We are a women's sports site, so we don't cover football all that much, at least the American style of football. But this could, I think, Jared, most likely spread on over into the other fall sports, and we certainly have a passel of those on the women's side in the fall, sir.
Excuse me. The trouble is that football is your money maker, and they're kind of the ones that help pay for the other sports, so to speak, which would be your non-revenues. So if you lose out on your football season, there's not money to be able to spend and afford on your other sports, or as we really like to call it, the Olympic sports. So if there's no football, I mean, you can just about guarantee there's going to be no other sports either, just because the financial viewpoint of it wouldn't be possible to make happen.
One of the dilemmas that the ACC is considering right now, and I've also heard that the SEC is going to go into meetings on this, I think, starting Monday as well. So when you look at your Power 5 conferences, we haven't officially, of course, heard from a couple of the Power 5s yet, but I've got to think it's a domino effect, guys. If 2 or 3 decide, hey, it's not going to happen, I think they're all going to fall. The aspect and the thing of this is 3 things. First of all, fan frustration. Second of all, concerns over player safety and health. And third of all, about cutting budgets. Anything else you want to toss on that fire there, Jeff?
Yeah, I think it's I think that pretty much covers it. The general concepts involved, the facets involved to it. I do think it's interesting. I think it was the Pac-12 that kind of was one of the first one to start doing some things. And you look at financials, they're maybe the one that has the weakest financials. That's of the Power 5, right? And that's interesting because you might look at it as well. If they have weak financials, they really want to do football in order to bolster those as much as possible. Or maybe the flip side of that coin is maybe they have the least to lose. It's kind of a cynical look on their financials, but I think that's an interesting way to look at it. I don't have information about that well enough to know how that really plays out. But
I think one of the other major things too about the Pac-12 there is that right now California is a hot spot as far as COVID-19 goes, and I think if I remember correctly, 3 out of the 12 teams in the Pac-12 are out of California, so that's 1/4 of your base right there. Of course, everybody say, "Oh, that could change by September." Yes, it could.
it could.
The thing is, we don't know which direction it's going to change in. Is it going to get worse or could it get better? That's the key there. And I'm trying to think of any other major Power 5 conference out there, guys, that has got 3 members in the same state, like Pac does.
I mean,
And I can't think of,
ACC,
Yeah.
are you talking about
well,
like
yeah,
ACC?
ACC, obviously, you're right.
Yeah. It's several. Yeah.
I mean,
And I think,
SEC gets close. They're so huddled together down there with
Yeah.
Alabama and Auburn and a few of them Mississippi
Mississippi State. Yeah.
Mississippi State. I mean, they're all, even though they're different, some of them are different states, they're still within a couple-hour drive of each other.
Yeah.
and you're totally right on that ACC, but I'm not seeing, at least out of recent reports, that the North Carolina is currently a hot spot. I know there were some big cases there, but I think they're in a situation where they're still, reporting more cases, but they're not in a panic mode yet, like maybe a California or an Arizona, obviously, or a Texas or a Florida. Certainly with Miami and Florida State, though, who are in the ACC and are in Florida, certainly there has to be some concerns there, I think. All right. I'm going to put my money down squarely, guys, on the ACC decides to go ahead and cancel any type of out-of-conference stuff. Is anybody betting with me here?
Not against
actually
you.
think they're going to cancel everything.
I'm with Jared. I think ultimately, I don't think they will immediately, but I think ultimately that's what's going to happen here. I'm disappointed to say that, but I do believe that.
And so to voice some other opinions, this is just the first step on the pier before falling into the ocean, right? Okay.
Yeah, I think they're trying to hold off on making decisions as long as possible in order to, if there's a chance, there's always a chance that things get turned around and nationwide, really. But I'm not optimistic of that, but I can certainly understand them not wanting to make that final decision at this point when it's not a decision that has to be made at this point. There's time to make that decision still without drastic implications. So.
And Jared, if it does, and when it does go down, certainly our hearts go out to the student athletes that are prepping and preparing and getting ready for the possibility of a season. But I think we still have to keep in mind the primary focus and issue number one here is their health and safety.
Right. If there's no season, it's kind of sucks to be a student athlete if there's no season, because all the time and effort you put in, not just in the past couple of months, but leading up your whole life up to this point. So those that are kind of the younger classmen will still have the opportunity in the future. Those that are upperclassmen or seniors, that this may be it's unfortunate for them. They're the ones who are losing out on the most. But I'm also looking at the concern of all of those that are employed with different athletics programs that no longer have funding and money that may not have a job come in the near future.
And that's another huge factor of an economic impact. So certainly we wait to see what the ACC will do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like these two guys here. I think it's the first step on a long pier that will eventually end up in the cessation of college sports for the fall and maybe longer.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just have to wait and see. So thanks for cheering everybody up, Paul. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Joy and excitement, right?
The joy and excitement of UofL women's sports has taken a definite sack for a 10-yard loss on that segment. But let's move on to a little more interesting and maybe bright news, depending on who I'm talking to. Errol Lawson, that wonderful ESPN announcer who we've all liked to listen to call women's basketball games, and as many other things, was a fantastic WNBA a Tennessee Vol superstar,
Hmm.
is being strongly considered and is strongly considering taking the head coaching job for women's basketball at Duke University. Jeff, I know you're jumping up and down with joy on this one.
Yeah, my response in our group chat, I'll share it with the show here, was I don't want this to happen because I don't want Duke to have a good coach, and Errol Lawson will undoubtedly be a very good coach. I think she's currently an assistant coach for the Boston Celtics, so she's got some coaching experience under her belt. She obviously knows the game really well. We've seen that in her commentary on numerous basketball games that we've all watched. I have huge respect for her. I think she's a wonderful. From what I know of her, I've never met her personally, obviously, but from what I know of her, she's a great person and will probably instill a great culture and work ethic and bring some excellence back to that program that maybe haven't been there quite as much recently. So I think this would be a great move for Duke. I think it would probably be a very good move for her. I just don't want Duke to be good. So pick somebody else, Duke. No, and honestly, I can't fault anybody. I think it's probably a good choice for everybody involved.
The name surfacing, Jared, to me was a bit of a surprise. I don't know her much better than Jeff does, except in those few occasions we've seen her inside the KFCM Center to call a game, and there's been a hi, hello, a smile, how are you doing? I was surprised by Errol Lawson being the prime candidate now that Duke is considering. How about you?
Well, she's got playing experience, coaching experience, a little bit of play-by-play, in-person experience. So she's seen the game from several different aspects and points of view, which that can play to a pretty good advantage, because sometimes when you're looking at it just from a player's point of view, you miss a lot of stuff, or when you're looking at it from just a coach's point of view, you miss a lot of things. And sometimes you just need to take it from different viewpoints to get a better understanding. Sometimes you might see why something happens. It may help you actually see and read the game better, maybe help anticipate what might come in the future. So in terms of that aspect, especially with her experience, I think she's going to go pretty far, and she does, have plenty of the credentials to take that position over at Duke.
It's not like this is the first time this has happened in the ACC as of recent. Of course, last year, Nell Fortner, who had been a sports commentator, took the Georgia Tech job, and guys, she didn't have that bad a season, really. I think they were 20-10 on the season, or 20-11. I think they were 10-8 in conference. I think most most Georgia Tech fans, women's basketball version, had to be happy with what she did down there. It looks like this is starting possibly to be a trend in coaching, right?
Yeah, it's a good possibility when you see it happening with success at other programs. It makes you think about it a little bit more and the possibilities of what may happen. Sometimes it's going to work out, sometimes it won't, just because you pick somebody who on paper looks like they're going to be a great fit. That doesn't always work out, and that's unfortunate. We've seen that before with different programs, different schools, but it's kind of opening the door. And we've seen it a little bit with the some pro sports recently too. I know with NFL, with the Raiders bringing in Gruden, who used to play and coach and was then doing a lot of play-by-play and commentary type stuff. And the Raiders are rebuilding, but it looks like they may have some success in the future. So it's not just focused on college that this is happening.
Now, Jeff, if we can only get Deb Antonelli to go to Wake Forest. And
You just want Deb Antonelli coaching, don't you?
I just want Deb out there somewhere on the sidelines, because this is just going to be high-paced offensive basketball. Defense would be an afterthought. You're going to probably see games in the hundreds every time out, but they may be giving up 110 per game. But Deb, keep your phone open, okay? Errol Lawson. It's not official yet, unless it's happened here in the last 20 minutes, but they were in serious negotiations. Some of the things that maybe they could be discussing is, of course, a salary structure and agreement. That was supposedly the reason that Joanne P. McCauley left, that they could not get together on salary requirements and negotiations for the future. And that could be possibly one of the things. Or maybe Kara's just kind of stepping back from it a little bit, guys, and saying, hey, I need 48 hours to think about this. I need to talk to people. I need to kind of gather my blanket around me and meditate a bit. I think she'd be a good fit. I think she's going to get the offer. It may not happen today. It may not happen tomorrow, but I'd be surprised if it does not happen early next week, guys.
Yeah, and I would say I think there's a good chance of it, and I would say that look for within 2 years Duke being a much more competitive team nationally than they have been recently. I have confidence that she will do well there and do great things. So, yeah.
Well, she's certainly one that could recruit if she's well known amongst the high school players out there. There could be the transfer factor where players at other schools say, "Hey, I want to go play for her."
Mm-hmm.
I'll even sit out a year if I can go play for her. So that's certainly there. We'll see. Like I said, Duke has had a wealth and abundance of talent in the last 10 years. But Joanne P. just wasn't the answer as far as getting them anywhere past to the Sweet 16.
I have the question of, does Duke essentially become if they bring Errol Lawson in as head coach, do they essentially become the legacy of classic Tennessee women's basketball? Errol Lawson played for Pat Summitt. She draws a lot of her inspiration in thinking about how to play basketball from her. Does that kind of become part of that legacy? It's an interesting thought to think that cross, Tennessee Duke interaction there.
That's a very good and valid point. I'm not sure if I've got the right answer on that, or if I've got an answer on that. One of the things I do know is there's probably a sizable amount of UT women's basketball fans right now that are kind of muttering in their coffee cup saying, well, why didn't we get her? I mean, she's a home girl. She's a local girl. She played here. How could she dare go to Duke? And they may not have a bad point to argue, fellas. Because Tennessee basketball, women's basketball side is dropped, guys. Let's face it.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting to think about that. Tennessee's certainly still struggling to find their course again. So, see what happens. I don't think there is an answer to the question I posed. I think it's an interesting, thing to ponder.
It is, and one could spend a lot of time thinking about that too, if one cared to.
Yeah.
Staying in a basketball realm and with some very sad news, unfortunately, one of the greatest of all time with the Louisville women's basketball program, Asia Dewar, did announce earlier in the week that she had tested positive for COVID-19, that she had been had gotten this actually back in early June, decided to announce it in early July, and with that statement also announced that she would not be participating in any 2020 WNBA action for the New York Liberty. Boy, this one, if the virus hasn't hit home with anybody yet, if you're a UofL basketball fan, this really had to nail it home to you. Asia Dewar, the epitome of skill, grace, athleticism, perfect health, boom. All of a sudden she's tested positive.
Yeah, and from the sounds of it, from her description of it, she's had some challenging health issues as part of it. A lot of the public discourse about COVID-19 is about, death rates and all of this, but, there are very real medical consequences beyond whether you die from it or not, which, obviously, death rate is a very important, obviously huge thing, but there are some other serious medical complications that can happen as a result of it, and seemingly long-lasting too. So, obviously, my thoughts are with Asia to hopefully fight through this and hopefully come out of it without some of those long-lasting health issues that we're starting to see might come from it. So, yeah, my thoughts are with her. Wish for the best.
And Jared is kind of a double whammy for the Cardinal basketball programs this week. First of all, we find out that two people associated with men's basketball that tested positive, unnamed, but still, or at least the two did. And now Asia, boy, it's not been a great week over there over at the Korber Center, has it?
Been a little rough, but I think maybe it will start helping people open their eyes to realize that it's not just people that have poor health or maybe of a higher risk category that are catching the virus, because Aisha Dur is nowhere close to being old, and being a professional athlete, she's got to be in great shape. And then whether the two men's basketball program members were players, coaches, or staff, they're all in pretty good health and condition because they all still work out and they follow a certain dietary pattern. So maybe this will help people realize this virus is a little more severe than we think, and it can actually get to anybody. And hopefully we don't have people that still refuse to believe that they're not ever going to catch it.
So Asia will not be in the dome with her Liberty teammates, of course, the two that we know quite well, and Jasmine Jones and Kylie Shook, and also Sabrina Onescu. The more I think about the dome concept and everything that's going on down there that's going to come up with this, guys, I've got my questions. I've got my doubts. Just your thoughts on it?
I don't think it's possible to create an impenetrable boundary there. The best you can do is put a partial boundary in place. There's still possible ways for there would still be people that would have to cross that. People that have to go in and out, delivery people, whatever. You can try to put some protections in place, but it can never be perfect, right? We live in a society where we depend upon each other inherently. So I wish them the best. I think they can probably take a lot of steps depending on the resources available to them and how much they can put into providing those protections. It can't be 100% though. It's just not ever going to happen that way. So I'm worried about it. I've got questions. Ultimately, there are questions that'll never be answered, but the proof will eventually be in the pudding. But that's, as they say, hindsight is 20/20. So once this season, such as it is over, we may look and say, well, wow, okay, that worked out pretty well, or maybe that really wasn't such a great idea. We wish we could know that ahead of time, but
yeah, that's for sure. We'd all love to know ahead. Jared, there's gonna have to be, and there will be, some kind of media presence, obviously, in the dome to cover these things in the bubble. Would you want to be a photographer on those sidelines?
It's tough because I want to be there taking pictures, but at the same time, I don't want to be somewhere that I'm going to be around a decent number of people and exposing myself to a virus that we still know very little about and have no cure to. So as of right now, it's kind of like I'd rather not be there.
I have to agree with you. I wouldn't want to be sitting on the sidelines, having to write an article about a game. No way. Not now.
There is an interesting take on this. Possible that at least the NBA, I don't know if the WNBA is doing it this way. My guess is probably they are. Maybe not, but that if, at least for the NBA, if you were part of the media and you were going to be in that bubble, you stayed in that bubble. You were subjected to the same limitations that players and staffs were going to be. If you left, you didn't come back. So there could be an argument that if that's the way they're doing it, it actually might be a safer place to be than out and about and among the community. So I don't know. Again, hindsight would be great to have on this, but I don't know.
Yeah, if we had a previous roadmap we could follow here, but right. This is uncharted territory, obviously, for all of them down there, and certainly as far as Asia goes, God, we love her. We hope her the best. We hope that she makes a full and complete recovery. We hope that there's no permanent damage to her lungs or anything like that. And And then somebody show the girl a little mercy. I mean, she ends the season last year with a hip injury. She's got a rehab just when she gets herself back to almost 100%, and she's ready to go. Boom, the COVID hits her. So if you're smiling down on her, sweet Jesus, give her a break the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
She's been through enough already. Okay, pass the plate. We're done with that sermon. But she obviously has endured well.
Has endured well.
Endured well.
I see what you did there.
She's endured a lot. Yeah. All right. Let's take it on over to Louisville softball. We got a little news going there as far as some things happening within the program. First of all, the softball squad has gotten a very, very huge transfer in from one of the best Division II schools out there, as Jennifer Lionheart comes in from USI, and a 3-time All-American pitcher. She was a Fern Creek girl in high school. This is a big move for Holly April's staff, Jared.
Absolutely. Just looking at her resume, what she's done the past 3 years is incredible. I mean, even at the D2 level, you're still looking at a pretty solid tier collegiate sport where she has gone through and she's won a national championship. She was named the MVP of the College World Series in terms of softball. And just everything she's done, both in the circle and behind the plate, is incredible. She's going to be a great dominant player. She kind of reminds me of how Marissa Becker was, that dual threat type pitcher that we haven't really seen. I guess Megan Hensley would have been a nice dual threat, but right now we don't really have the pitchers on the roster that can dominate in the circle but also produce a lot of power at bat either. And I think that's what Holly April's trying to find right now.
Holly got turned over the right card at the right time and hit the jackpot here, Jeff, as she decided that she wanted to go ahead and pursue a postgraduate career and eventually get some things done for herself after her degree. Louisville had the program that she wanted, and at the same time she thought to herself, hey, I wonder if I could play as a grad trad there. Would you be interested taking a grad transfer like me and Coach April? Nice stroke of luck for Holly, huh?
Yeah, she's going to be going into the School of Dentistry. She'll be a student in the dental school, which is, not a trivial course of study. So, best wishes on that. I'm just reading through some of her background. 2019 GLVC Pitcher of the Year. 2017 was the first regional championship for Southern Indiana. First national championship in 2018. Man, these are some impressive accomplishments and awards she's gotten. GLVC Freshman of the Year her first year, and All-American as a freshman. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed with what I see here. It'll be fun to see her play. And, it's kind of cool to see somebody from Louisville always show up on the team.
You got that right. I have not had a chance to talk to the Fern Creek softball coach, who I still see occasionally, who coached her back her in her time at Fern Creek, but we'd had a previous conversation about her early in the season where he was just talking about, she's the shining example of what you could do at Fern Creek softball. I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet about her being back home to play for Louisville, but I know he's got to be smiling 10 feet wide and walking on clouds right now. Somebody really good out of that program. And it's a Cardinal staff that, okay, they've got some established pitching on it. Sure they do. Taylor Roby, very, very good pitcher. She does some good things. Right now, let's take a look at Paige Hiller. She's getting experience, if nothing else, playing with the Manatee Squeeze. Of course, the Cards recently got in a very good transfer in as well. Jared, is Lionheart going to be one of the ace on this staff? What's your thoughts?
Potentially, yes. Right now, I've kind of been focused on how are you going to carry 5 pitchers on a roster in softball? Usually you don't see that. Typically 3, maybe 4 is what you carry. So she's got a lot of competition. But outside of that, now the other 4 pitchers on the current roster are thinking, wow, this is more competition for us as well. Lionheart's got more experience, and she's proven herself more successful than the others, so it gives her a nice leg up. And to come in for one season, Holly Abram must have seen something she really liked in her. So I think in that term, Lionheart should make a pretty immediate impact. So it kind of brings up the point of, what about the other pitchers? Are they going to pitch, ride the bench? Are they going to transfer? That's kind of a question that we'll be looking at.
Certainly a valid point indeed. We'll have to see how all that plays out when it comes around to the spring softball season, if there is one. Then we certainly hope there is. Kind of staying with the softball realm, guys, one that we've been covering quite frequently at the website over the past few weeks have been the Manatee Squeeze. Of course, they are a member of the FGLC, that's the Florida Gulf Coast League.
FGCL, but yeah.
FGCL. I knew I was going to mess that up,
Yeah.
and I practiced it, and I got it wrong.
It's a mouthful of letters for sure.
It's just like I just spit up all my alphabets. No. But anyway, yeah, they're down there still in second place. They had a 9-inning thriller last night, winning at the top of the 9th inning to get a win over Fast Pitch U. Our own Jordan Wolf went 1 for 4 in the game, and Paige Hiller, as we mentioned earlier about being one of the Cardinals' pitchers, she threw 5 innings in the game before being pulled for a reliever. We won't get into stats on Paige. It's to say she's very good at getting strikeouts. She's also very good at giving up base hits. Okay, but hey, they've been fun to watch, haven't they?
Oh yeah, for sure. Going back to Paige real quick, it's what Jeff likes to call that high risk, high reward type player. And she may give up some hits and some runs, but she's also going to record a lot of outs, especially strikeouts, which is easier on your fielders and less chance of an error being made. But just overall, it's nice to have some type of sport going on just to follow along, but also both of these players getting experience, and just as they said in the interview with you a couple weeks ago, they're out there being able to play softball, and that's something they didn't really get to do this year. And they're just having fun playing softball.
Manatee Squeeze 11-4. That's good for second place in the Florida Gulf Coast League, behind what appears to be a powerhouse in the Macaca City River Mocs, who've only lost 1 game in 15 attempts so far this year. A very big powerhouse, but certainly Manatee getting some nice performance out of our UofL girls, which a Manatee squad that has a lot of Big Ten influence on it as well, fellas. But we're happy for them. Hope that they can continue.
Yeah, just looking at the overall FGCL schedule, it looks like they're scheduled to play twice today at noon and at 2. So as soon as we're done here, maybe check out the Tampa live stream. Is that what I don't remember what the name of it is now.
Live stream Tampa, maybe?
Live stream Tampa, I think that's it, yeah. And see if they're on there. I don't know if they're going to be on there, but there's 2 games going on at each time slot. No, there's only 1 game at noon, so I'd say there's a good chance to check them out. So, yeah.
So catch Jordan Wolf out there. Hopefully she gets a right field start. Can continue that hot hitting streak she's been on lately for the Manatee. Well, let's go ahead and stay with the ACC as we roll along here. Earlier in the week, a little bit of controversy about team nicknames. Some of the professional sports were mentioned. And then the stuff like the Washington Redskins, the Atlanta Braves, the Kansas City Chiefs, nicknames that some maybe find questionable and unsatisfactory for those franchises. But in the ACC, you've got the Florida State Seminoles. There's been some subjects raised about them that have been both positive and negative. The way I see the Seminoles, guys, they were a very, very proud Indian tribe back in those days of Florida, and I think that it's an honor and a tribute to them, that nickname, the Seminoles, okay? Now, that being said, I'm not really sure if I'm into the chant and if I'm into the chop. Thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Florida State has a history of having worked with the Seminole tribe and Seminole Nation to try to be sure that their depiction is respectful and responsive to their desires. And they've been pretty well known for doing that, which is good. I applaud them for that. I think maybe these are a couple of aspects of that mascot relationship that haven't really been looked at, but probably should be, and probably should be changed. There's lots of opinions on it, obviously, but I think the general perspective, and here I am, I'm sitting here, I'm a white dude, I don't have the greatest perspective to be talking about this, but I certainly want to see FSU be respectful of them. I hope that they are in continued contact with the Seminole tribe and nation, and continue to have that discussion there, and take their desires and wishes and thoughts into consideration strongly. I think they will. I hope they do. So I suspect you start to see some of those aspects of that mascot relationship be downplayed a little bit. So we'll see where it goes.
Hey, Jared, your significant others from that Seminole Nation.
Yeah,
What's
I was
been
just
going
thinking
on?
about that. The advantage of having a girlfriend who went to Florida State, and we've had this discussion a couple of times, believe it or not. But as Jeff mentioned, Florida State and the Seminole tribe have been in good relations, and that's not one where we saw where they just chose the mascot, the Seminoles, without any type of permission or consulting with the original tribe. In this case, they did, when they chose the Seminoles, they did go through the Seminole tribe and politely ask and say, hey, this is something we want to do, not in terms of making fun of you, but in terms of honoring you and representing your tribe well, which the Seminole tribe fully backed. Personally, I'm not a fan of the Tomahawk Chopper War Chant, because those don't accurately depict some of our Native American tribes. I think those are things that have kind of gotten stereotyped over the years. And it's not just Florida State where we've seen some of those come up. It's a little bit with the Atlanta Braves, the Washington Redskins, the Kansas City Chiefs. So in a way, even though I guess we're not intending to be insensitive or offensive to any of the tribes in some of the ways that we're depicting them, I know it's kind of gotten skewed, and a lot of people aren't a fan of the TikTok social media app, especially with what's going on. But there is a Native American gentleman who has been kind of speaking his mind and answering questions on there, and he's gone in depth a little bit about the college thing. And a point that kind of stood out to me that he made is that if mascots and team names is the only way that we're going to continue having Native American tribes shown in history, because we don't really learn much about them in education, especially public education. If that's the only way that we're going to preserve their memory, well, he's saying that at least having those mascots is better than nothing, just because the name will continue and carry on. But he would like to see some of the chants and the hand gestures and movements maybe removed as a possibility.
Kind of got to agree with him. On the three aspects of it, yes, go ahead and keep the Seminoles as a nickname. It's a very, very good tribute to a proud tribe. The chop and the chant, go ahead and toss it in the trash can. I don't really care for either, especially after being subject to it way too many times. Cardinal Stadium, when the Florida State football team has come in and kicked the living you-know-what out of our Cardinals. And 4,000 or 5,000 fans in the what I'll call the northwest corner or northeast corner of Papa John, or Cardinal Stadium as it is, doing that chant with the band. Yeah, it kind of grated me a little bit. So yeah, go ahead and do with those two. Out the door with them. Okay. All right. Let's get into one more thing before we get into the quiz there. And that's certainly about our very fine Louisville volleyball program, where we were a bit surprised earlier this week with a transfer where Amber Stiverns has decided she's going to take her act down to Georgia. Jeff, surprise to you, sir?
Partially. I'm a little surprised that it happened now versus back, say, in January. But it's not uncommon to have volleyball transfers in the summer. I'm disappointed. I really liked Amber, both as an individual. I did get a chance to talk to her a few times. in her freshman year with us, and I think she was a really, really great player. Georgia is getting a great asset for their team. She's a great hitter. I did one thing. I think I said something on the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour back when we found out that Shannon Shields was transferring back to Arizona. I think my response was, hey, wait a minute. A big part of Amber Stivern's coming to Louisville was to be with Shannon. This maybe says, let's look towards Amber, maybe if she wants to decide to go somewhere else, because one of the reasons that she came to Louisville is now gone. I wonder if that fed into this a little bit as well. And then the other other facet of it is we got a lot of great hitters on the team, and we got more coming in. She may have been looking at potential playing time. I would have thought she would have done pretty well in a position battle, but maybe not. She's not in the mold of a classic Midwest volleyball player, which is the style of volleyball that Danny Busboom Kelly tends to play and tends to look for in players. Big, strong, fast, athletic. She's not somebody that's a big athletic player, but oh my goodness, her ability to place the ball and find holes and find seams is amazing. It may be one of the best players I've ever seen do that. So I think she's a very, very fine hitter. I think she'll be a great asset in Georgia. I wish her well, of course, as we always do, players that decide to take their talents elsewhere. But a little surprised that it either didn't happen sooner or not happen at all. I figured by the time we got this far, she was going to stick with us. So a little unfortunate.
I'm going to agree with you too, because I think that it was somebody that I expected to see have a really, really great season for Louisville volleyball coming up here, because of the things you mentioned, her ability to place the ball, to find the seams. I would have thought many other players on that squad before her, but now that she's gone, she's gone. That's the way it works. Jared, were you surprised by it?
A little bit. I know when I was doing that early preview of players that could have that breakout season, I remember listing Amber as one, just because how well she had stepped up in the second half of the season and just the impact she made. But you're looking at, as Jeff mentioned, it's a large roster. I mean, I think we could fill 3 starting lineups right now with the roster just about, which is kind of crazy. But
not quite, but close.
About 2.5, I think. Is
yeah.
what it is. But there's a lot of talent on the team, and many of those, or I guess most of those players are returning from last year that made the run. So there's a lot of competition, and it's going to come down to the playing time. And playing time can evidently, in the end, lead up to kind of your happiness with the program.
So that's where she is now, gone to Georgia. What we have next for you is the highly anticipated, a little bit of bantied about contest in our Cardinal Couple quiz here on the podcast, where it looks like it's going to be a battle of the Titans, a battle of the heavyweights, as Jeff and Jared once ahead go head-to-head after tying last week. We were talking about where she and Amber Stivers is now. Today's quiz is about where are they now? Where are they now concerning people associated with Louisville sports? Where are they now? Things of that nature. If you're listening for the first time, if you've never played the quiz before, there are a series of 10 questions and a bonus question. You get 10 points for each correct question you get during the regular round. In the bonus, you have the option to take the bonus or not take the bonus. If you take the bonus and get it correct, you get 20 points. If you miss the bonus, you lose 20 points. If you don't take it, you don't lose the win with them. All right, gentlemen, come out of your corner, shake hands, come out fighting when I ring the bell. Here we go. Where are they now? Jared, you will go first with the first 5 questions. Jeff, you will go first with the final 5 questions. Women's soccer great Charlene Corral now plays for A. Supremo Barcelona, B. Atletico Madrid, C. La Paloma, or D. Detroit Rock City. Where does Charlene Corral play? Supremo Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, La Paloma, or Detroit Rock City? Jared, you're on the
Uh,
bit.
I'm trying to go back to the World Cup last year because Charlene Corral was on her women's national team, so I thought she was Athletic Madrid. Maybe. Yes.
He's going to go with B.
I'm
Athletic.
I'm gonna I'm gonna stick with that based off of her nationality.
Jeff, your thoughts on the question?
Well, her
You're
nationality is Mexican, so I believe. So Madrid isn't really tied with that, although it is Spanish language. But I do believe also of those, Atletico Madrid seemed most familiar to me, so I'm going to go with that. I'm definitely not sure on it.
The boys have gone with B, and the boys are correct. The
Ah.
answer is B. Atletico Madrid. Contrary to popular rumors, she did not replace Gene Simmons in Kiss and is not a part of Detroit Rock City. So there we go. They got the first one right. We hope you did at home too. Let's go to question number 2. Kelsey Dahlia, Louisville swimmer extraordinaire,
Mhm.
is now A, an Adidas swimming rep, B, pursuing a master's at UofK, C, with the Cali Condors, or D, with Team Canada? Where's sweet Kelsey at? With Adidas,
She's
a master.
she's with the Condors. Her Facebook is usually pretty active with that.
Jared has no doubt about that. Jeff, do you agree with it?
That was the one that I actually wasn't considering. I was going to, I guess, Adidas, but Jared's probably right on this one.
So you're going to go with Adidas while
Yep.
he goes C, and Jared, of course, did get it correct.
Yep.
The Cali Condors, where she does her swimming now.
Hmm.
Always love Kelsey for the things she did when she was in Louisville, for sure.
Yep. She's always a joy to talk to.
Oh, such fun interviews,
Yeah.
especially women's basketball of all places as well.
Yeah.
At the brunch. Question number 3 coming up then. Sarah Hammond of Louisville women's basketball fame is now A, the head coach at Murray, B, playing in Turkey, C, the DOO, Director of Operations at Memphis, or D, the assistant coach at Union University? Is it A, Murray, B, Turkey, C, Memphis, or D, Union? Jared, fire.
I thought she was coaching somewhere, so that takes out a couple of them there. I feel like I would have heard something if she was with Murray, unless that was recent. So I'm gonna have to go with the Union option, being an assistant coach.
Option D, assistant coach at Union University. Jeff, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I know she went to play in Europe for like 1 year, but I don't think it was Turkey. But in any case, that's definitely in the past. Last I remember seeing was assistant coach at Union.
Both the boys picked D, and both the boys are correct. Yeah, finishing her 3rd year last year at Union University as an assistant coach down there, of course, in that scenic town of Jackson, Tennessee, not too far from Memphis, and also the home of some very good barbecue, I might add, in Jackson, right off I-40 there. All right, 3rd question's down. Jared with a 10-point lead. We go to question number 4. Former University of Louisville women's basketball guard Sydney Zambrata now plays for A, George Mason, B, George Washington, C, George Costanza, or D, Robert Morris? Where's Sid playing ball at, Jared?
I still remember us talking about this. I guess it's been a little over a year ago now, but she's with George Washington.
He takes George Washington as his answer. Jeff, which one of these is she playing ball for? George Costanza, maybe?
No, can you go to him again?
Yes, we have George Mason. We've got
Okay.
George Washington. We've
All
got George Costanza and Robert Morris.
Okay, yeah, I believe it's George Washington. I thought she graduated from there, but this year. But yeah, George Washington is where she went.
George Washington is the answer, and George Washington is correct. She actually averaged 8 points a game last year for George Washington And I do believe she's got another season coming
Does she really? Okay.
because of things ending, right?
Well, not for
I,
basketball.
I think she does have another season left over there.
Yeah, she
The
may.
last I saw.
I could be wrong on my years. Yeah.
All right, we're through 4 questions. Jared's still clinging to a 10-point lead. As question number 5 comes up, Jared, this will be your last time to go first. UConn has changed conferences. Where did they go? A, the Big Ten. B, the AAC. C, the Big East. Or D, the Patriot League. Where did UConn go, Jared? Big Ten, AAC, Big East, or Patriot League?
I thought they were reverting back to the Big East, but I thought for some reason they were hanging out independent for one season. I could be wrong on that, but in the long run, I'm pretty sure they're going back to the Big East, so I'm going to stick with that.
He goes with C, the Big East. Jeff, your thoughts on this question?
Yeah, I think we mentioned it briefly last week or week before, maybe. I don't remember. But they are joining the Big East. I kind of have said going back to the Big East, but it's kind of a different Big East than it was. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if going back is really the right. So, yeah, but yes, it is Big
like
East.
The 2.0, I guess.
Yeah, it's the Big East in name, but it's really pretty a different conference now. So
The Big East, revisited 2020.
yeah.
And the boys have gone with C as an answer, Big East, and Big East is correct, yes, as they go back to the conference where they used to have such memorable battles back when Gino was still good. Of course, he's still good, guys. Let's talk.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Halfway through the quiz, Jared with a 10-point lead. Jeff will be going first the rest of the final questions here. Question number 6 is, Becky Burke is now the head coach at A, UNC Wilmington, B, South Carolina State, C, Charleston Southern, or D, USC Upstate. Jeff, where's Becky at now?
Yeah, it's at USC Upstate. She, in fact, just posted a picture a few minutes ago on Twitter of in the middle of her workout, and yeah, I don't want to make her mad.
He's pretty firm in that answer indeed. Jared, are you going to agree with him, or you got another choice?
Yeah, we've talked about her and then another UofL alum that's joined her on the staff that I won't mention name in case she is brought up in the quiz
another
too,
question.
Yeah, USC Upstate.
You're not talking about Sarah Hammond, are you? We already covered her. And also, congratulations, as D is correct to you guys. USC Upstate in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And she's also now a proud homeowner. If you've been following on social media, she and her life partner now have a house in Spartanburg.
And
So,
I think I was just trying to look through her Twitter feed real quick. I think I saw where they're engaged now.
are they now? Okay,
I think.
very good. Oh, yeah,
Don't
they were
qu- yes.
dress. Yes, that's
Yeah, 27th
Yeah.
of June. Yeah. So
And so, Jeff, your plans of marrying Becky now put on the side. As best of luck.
never really an option. Yeah.
Yeah, one of those 30 coaches under 30 that is on a rising
Yeah,
star of greatness. And let's hope that she's learned how to play defense. Yes, play defense, Becky. Question number 7 coming up. Still a 10. I got in trouble with that one. Question number 7 coming up. Jared clinging on to that 10-point lead. Louisville's new NWSL franchise, that's women's soccer, guys,
Yep.
will be known as A, Racing Louisville FC, B, Louisville Bells FC, C, Louisville Storm FC, or D, Falls of Louisville FC. What's their name going to be?
I don't want a soccer team named Falls. That there's enough, yeah. And there's enough taking drops in soccer anyway.
It's a
Yeah.
great choice.
Yeah. It's the Louisville Racing FC. I think is it Racing Louisville FC. The A. Not a name that I am super excited over, but it's not bad. So all right.
He's going to go with that A, Racing Louisville FC.
I'm just excited to have a team here.
About this. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember there are a couple of people that posted about it being named Racing Louisville FC, and I'm with Jeff. I thought it done better, kind of trying to tie it to Churchill Downs in the Derby and everything.
Both the guys are on A, and A is correct. It is Racing Louisville FC. Of course, I have to think that you agree with me on that. That's probably kind of somewhat Churchill Downs racing,
Yeah,
but it could be with the Bell Louisville,
could
because
be,
they have a
or
race.
others. Yeah, it's. I don't have a problem with the name. It doesn't like make me mad or anything. But and obviously, I'm thrilled to have the team here. But I was just like, all right, that's okay. Yeah.
I feel like we could have done something better, maybe like more badassery type stuff. I mean, Racing Louisville FC just kind of like, I feel like it's going to fall in a mix of names. It's not going to stand out there.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of mascot do you come up with for that? That's going to be a very interesting question. Yeah.
A racehorse with a soccer ball, right?
That's certainly one that you should submit, Jared. You might be able to win valuable prizes and or a financial windfall on that for sure. Question number 8 for you. Former Bellarmine assistant women's basketball coach Crystal Kelly is now A, at WKU, B, at UK, C, back with Bellarmine, or D, at Fern Creek High School. You remember Crystal Kelly. Where is she now, Jeff?
No, I don't remember Crystal Kelly. Sorry.
All those games she had at WKU against the Cardinals in basketball. My God, she was a powerhouse. Anyway, I'm sorry if you don't remember her, but she was at Bellarmine.
Yeah.
Then she left when our friend Candace Bingham came in.
Yeah.
Now where is she?
I don't know. I remember
UK, Bellarmine, or Fern Creek.
Yeah, I remember seeing the name come across Twitter feed somehow, but I didn't look into it. I'm gonna guess back at Bellarmine. So obviously they had an assistant coaching vacancy there. So
he's taking a swing and going for Bellarmine. Jared, you think that's right, or you got something else?
I'm pretty sure she wouldn't go down to a high school level. Once you get up to the collegiate, you don't see that a lot. But yeah, I have to agree with Jeff that she's maybe going back to Bellarmine just because I know they have that vacancy right now after Candace Bingham Wheeler left.
The guys are going with C back at Bellarmine, and C is correct. That's right. She's joined back up with Chance Dugan as an assistant coach for the Bellarmine Knights women's basketball team.
The boys as they move into the Division I. This is a good move.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you did, I just can't believe you can't remember Crystal Kelly's career. She was all world. But anyway.
Don't worry, I don't remember either, but I'm guessing did she play down at Cardinal Arena? Was that probably middle high school days or something for me?
Yeah, probably so. All right. My age is showing.
She was selected in the draft by the Houston Comets, but then waived and picked up by the Sacramento Monarchs. It was in 2008. Yeah. Don't really remember.
I was finishing up middle school, so junior high for me, if that helps you out.
Oh, you're killing me.
Killing you. She done thrown the dirt on my grave. They said the prayers.
Yeah. I'll bring some flowers tomorrow.
Thank you, Jared. I appreciate that. Yes, thank you very much. Jared still holds on to that 10-point lead. We're going to question number 9. He's perfect so far, by the way, folks. How about that? Question number 9 is, where are the San Antonio Stars of the WNBA now? Where did that franchise move to? The San Antonio Stars. Very strong franchise back in the earlier days. Are they at A? Are they now Los Angeles? B, Las Vegas? C, Utah? Or D, New York? Where did the Stars go? Where are they now?
I think they're the one that went to Las Vegas, now the Las Vegas Aces with Angel McCautry.
Just going to take a guess on B, Las Vegas. Jared, what do you think about this question?
I had no idea. I wasn't going with Vegas, but when Jeff said that, but if we're being honest here, I thought they were going out to somewhere, your California option you had said.
Los Angeles is his answer then. Jeff gets it right. The
Oh.
Las Vegas Aces are now that squad. They used to be the San Antonio Stars. Candace Bingham was actually there for a short while.
Yep.
We have 9 questions down. We have a tie contest here. Each contestant with 1 wrong answer as we go into question number 10, the last question of the regular round. Gabby Vincent, UofL women's soccer defender.
You're assuming we're both taking the bonus here. I am. So.
Well, no. We're going into question 10.
Oh, this is question 10. Oh, sorry.
This is 10. Okay, so we
Misheard what you said. Sorry.
8 right. Okay.
Okay.
I have not even gone into the bonus settle.
Okay. All right.
This is 10. Gabby Vincent, UofL women's soccer defender, now plays for A, the Utah Stars, B, the Utah Jazz, C, the Utah Utes, or D, the Utah Royals. What's the name of the team that Gabby plays for, Jeff? The Stars, the Jazz, the Utes, or the Royals?
I so want a team in Utah to become the Utes and see what that mascot becomes. But I so want that to happen. But no, it's the Utah Royals.
He goes with D, the Royals. The Ute is actually a bird that's found in Utah, Jared. Did you know that?
I had no idea what a Ute was.
It's also a class of cars in Australia.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah.
I think Jeff was trying to steer you toward answer C here, Jared. What do you think? Where are you going to go with this? A, B, C, or D?
No. That's an easy one. Yeah, she's with the Utah Royals.
Both the boys are going D with the Royals, and that's right. They are kings on this one. It is the Utah Royals. But yes, the Ute is actually a bird found up in the Utah area. The Utah Jazz, of course, we remember for Karl Malone and John Stockton, Utah Stars. I don't know. Maybe there's stars at Utah. I don't know. I can't tell you.
Donovan Mitchell, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Heck of a ball player there.
Yeah.
We have finished our regular round, ladies and gentlemen. Both of the boys are sitting at 90 points each as we go into the bonus round. They have the option to take the bonus or not. Let's go back to Jared. Jared, where are you going to take this bonus question and try and break this tie?
Oh, yeah, definitely go for it. Just don't ask me what type of bird the Ute is, because I don't know.
I can assure you that is not the bonus question. Jeff, are you going to take it? Are you going to let Jared fall or win on his own?
I'm going to take it. Incidentally, the University of Utah football team are called the Utes. I don't know if that's their overall mascot. So, yeah. I want it to be the Australia car, though.
Maybe they could be like Georgia Tech and drive a Ute out.
Yes!
The field.
Oh, God, that needs to happen. That needs to happen. Come on, Utah, you got to do this.
We're calling you out right now, Provo and Salt Lake City. Make the move.
The bird can drive it, but, you got to use a Ute.
Have a big bird mascot driving the car out.
Yes! It's got to happen.
Gabby Vincent sitting in the passenger seat. And Karl Malone and John Stockton could dribble a basketball down when they hit the field. Yes, we have all kinds of ideas here in so little time. Here comes your bonus question. Former Cardinal softball pitcher Danielle Watson now plays for A, the Florida Gators, B, the FSU Seminoles, C, the Auburn Tigers, or D, the South Florida Bulls. Where does Watson play now? Jared, you got 90 points. Where does she go?
I had this discussion with Katie when the transfer was announced. She went to Florida State.
He's certain about that one. Florida State. Jeff, you going to agree with him?
I mean, he's probably right based on what he said, but that was not where I was going. I didn't think she went with an in-conference transfer, so I was going to say South Florida. So, yeah.
All right, Jared has got himself a B response. Jeff's got himself a D response. But she did transfer in conference to Florida State, guys.
Yeah.
Jared breaks the tie in the bonus round. He ends up with a whopping 110 points. Congratulations, sir, on the victory, Jeff. What can you say? You took him all the way to the finish line.
I did. It was a good game. Good competition down to the end. I'll take my 70. I'm okay with that.
There you go. Hopefully you all did as well at home. If anybody actually beat Jared, please send me an email or put something in the comments section. Or simply just drive by Republic one day and taunt him from the drive-thru. Okay? And it's like, hey, the tall guy with glasses in there, I kicked your butt in the quiz. I'd like to make it a positive. So there we have it. All right,
Wear a
fellas,
mask when you do it.
yeah, just wear a mask when you do it. And for God's sake, use sanitizer if you get anywhere near Jared, okay? I've seen the boy eat. You want to use sanitizer and anything else you can get your hands on.
I can put food away.
Yeah, gee, you think. My God, I was afraid of Katie over there cuddled in the corner. It's like, oh my God, he's going to get another portion. Let's move on into some final shots that way as we get into the final part of the show. Final thoughts. Jeff, you go ahead and start us out this week.
Oh gosh, I don't know. Here's hoping that we get some sports in, but we can do it safely. I'm not confident. I'm not hopeful, or I'm hopeful but not confident. But I'd sure like to see some volleyball, and it's not looking like it at the moment.
Yeah, that's. I can't add anything to that. We all hope there is, but I know a lot of us are thinking, how can this be? How can this happen right now? Jared, what you got for me, man?
Just wear the mask. It's not that hard. I mean, if you're going somewhere, you're going to have it on 15, 20 minutes max. Just, if you're not doing it for yourself, do it out of respect and common courtesy and for the health and safety of the people around you.
Very true. I'm a firm believer in wearing that mask in public as well. Final thoughts for me. Hey, today's a big racing day in the state of Kentucky, and I'm just not talking about around the track with horses. I'm talking about the speedway up in Sparta. But certainly, if you like horse racing at all, today is a day at Keeneland you don't want to miss. They got 6 stake races up there, guys. I think a total payout pool of over $2 million on these. It's just going to be a fantastic day for racing. You can go to Paulie's Picks to see who I like today and lose money along with me. So there you go. Actually, I've been doing pretty good at Keeneland this week. Just a hint. Jared, I know you've been practicing 3-part harmony for Look What We Can Do Louisville all week long. Go ahead and set it down.
Give me a few weeks to pick the euphonium back up, and we'll see what we got.
You're going to do 3-part harmony on the euphonium? That's a neat trick.
I want to hear that.
The doubles.
Yeah.
You can get a dual tone.
Right. Like harmonics and stuff.
I will have Case join you on the kazoo. So sure.
He may be studying up for next week's quiz right now.
Absolutely. He needs to, because you kicked some butt today.
Yeah, no, but also good luck to to Case on the practicing for the PE exam. I know that's a humongous undertaking. So
certainly so, and certainly condolences to his wife Lindsay, who has to put up with him during this time.
Yeah.
But certainly, we wish you, all of us here at Cardinal Couple, and I'm sure you all out there listening as well, wish Case the best of luck on the PE.
Absolutely.
All right, pal. We've had enough fun for today. Get us on out of here.
All right. Thank you all.